Section 12 of First Communion Days by Sister of Notre Dame. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. A First Communion Day. It was a week before the First Communion Day, when 5 little children might have been seen seated together, engaged in earnest conversation. The eldest, Nita, a dark-haired, dark-eyed girl of 8, was in the middle of the group. "My heart is full of beautiful flowers for baby Jesus," she was saying. "But oh, if only I could do some great big thing for Him before next week." "I should like to do a great big thing too," said a little fair-haired girl of 6½ named Josie. "I did lend my best dolly to Annie yesterday, though I wanted it myself, and I didn't cry when I fell down in the garden and hurt my knee." "Those were rather big things." "Yes, they were all right, but not really big, like the things I mean," answered Nita. "But Sister said everything we did for Jesus counted," broke in Nora. "And I've done lots and lots of little things to please Him. When baby Jesus comes to my heart He will find it full of little daisy flowers." "I've done things like not talking in class and trying with my writing," said little Claire. "But I don't always remember, and I haven't done any big ones." "I wonder if little Jesus is looking forward to next week. Perhaps He's looking down on us now and seeing which heart He likes best," said Nita. "He always likes to watch us when we are good. Mother says that when we play nicely together He comes and plays with us, though we can't see Him." "Does He?" said Josie, much impressed. "Then let's go and play now, and perhaps He will come too." But at that moment the bell rang, and jumping up the little group ran to join the others. A few more days went by. Then came the beautiful Feast of the Annunciation, the 25th March. The Mass was to be at 8 o'clock. In good time the chapel was filled to overflowing. In the very front row knelt the little First Communicants in snow-white dresses, wreaths, and veils. Behind them knelt their parents, the rest of the chapel being filled with sisters and pupils. The altar was beautifully decorated with sweet spring flowers, and during the Mass the organ played, and the pupils sang in honor of the occasion. After the consecration the little ones said aloud their simple acts before Holy Communion, after which they slowly and reverently approached the altar rails. Returning to their places with their little hands joined and their heads bent low, they knelt so quietly that not one was seen to move. When Mass was over the priest returned to the sacristy. Still the little ones remained wrapped in prayer. The short acts after Holy Communion were commenced by one of the sisters. Obediently each little head was raised, and reverently the prayers were repeated. Then once more the First Communicants prayed in silence, until a signal was given that it was time to leave the chapel. Down in the big hall the parents were now waiting to see their little ones. At first the children seemed quite shy, but soon they were eagerly showing their First Communion presents, medals, prayer books, or rosaries, with numbers of holy pictures. Then came breakfast, and during the morning a visit with the Sister Superior to each of the classes of the school. Seeing the happy little faces brought back to the minds of the big girls happy memories of their own First Communion Day, now long past. Then there were merry games and happy hours together, with now and again a little visit to chapel, just to thank our dear Lord once more for their great privilege, and to show Him that He was not forgotten. The day ended with benediction, during which the little ones read aloud an act of consecration to Our Lady, asking her to help them always to keep their hearts pure and white for little Jesus. Soon after this the children's parents had to return home. When the last goodbyes had been said, the 5 little girls eagerly gathered round Sister, anxious once more for her to admire their presents and to talk over events of the day. "Sister," said Nita, "Josie told us she couldn't think of anything to say when she came back from the altar this morning." Little Josie's face flushed with shame, but looking up shyly at Sister she said, "I did talk to Jesus after the prayers, but at first I could only keep hugging Him tight and saying, 'Dear little Jesus, I do love you,' over and over again. But after the prayers I said Hail Marys for everybody." "That was a beautiful Thanksgiving, Josie," said Sister. "Little Jesus likes so much to hear you tell Him that you love Him." "I told Him I loved Him, Sister," said Nora, "and I told Him the story of St. Gerard, and said I would come and talk to Him when he was lonely, too, like St. Gerard did." I told Jesus about Blessed Julie, and I told him my brother teased me, and I told him all about the flowers I had put in my heart for him," said Nita. "Oh, I forgot all about the flowers," broke in Claire. "But he would have seen them, wouldn't he, Sister?" "I told Jesus about Mother being ill and asked Him to make her better," said Agnes, who had been very disappointed that her parents had been unable to be present that day. "And I asked Him to help me with my reading and sums." "Little Jesus has answered part of your prayers already," said Sister, "for a letter came this evening to say that Mother was better and that Daddy hoped she'll be soon quite well again and able to come and see her little girl." "Oh, Sister, isn't he good?" replied Agnes. "May we go to Holy Communion again tomorrow so that I may thank him?" "Now that you have made your first Holy Communion, you may all go every day just like the other girls. Only you will talk to him and not leave him alone when he comes, won't you?" answered Sister. "Oh, yes, indeed we will!" they all exclaimed. "Every night when I go to bed I shall try to think of something nice to tell little Jesus," said Josie. "I want him to like coming into my heart best of all." "So shall I!" chimed in each of the others. Just then the bell rang for supper, after which 5 tired but very happy little children were soon fast asleep in bed. End of Section 12. End of First Communion Days by Sister of Notre Dame.